Hi there, and welcome to episode 21 of my vinyl and music collection. I've been going every 2 weeks recently. It's been a busy time for me with gigs, etc. Anyway, we're going to start off with another part of my folk collection. This will be like part three of it. And we're going to start off with one of the folk singers I started with maybe on, I think it was episode 2, and that's Christy Moore. Christy Moore was from Southern Ireland, absolutely great singer-songwriter, absolutely loved in Ireland, loved in the UK, and America as well. And one of his famous songs is track 1 on here, and it's called The City of Chicago. The album's called Ride On, and this is quite a new album. It was re-released by Record Store Days, and I can't speak highly enough of Christy Moore. Anyway, it's a great little album. On the back, we've got like a lyric sheet. That's quite unusual. It's usually inside. That's great. Lovely painting on the front. And the song Ride On is one of my favourite songs. I actually performed that song, and I've heard so many different versions of it as well. It's a great song. Not a lot inside. There's the album, a nice little in a circle there. And the tracks in here, we'll start off with a really fantastic song called The City of Chicago. Track 2, Ride On, is my all-time favourite Christy Moore song. Viva la Quinte Brigada, and that's a protest song, and it's about Franco, Spain, and the Civil War. Songs of Wandering Agonis, I think I pronounced that right. That's a great song. McAlton is track 5, and the last track in this of this side is called Listovana, and that's a great song. Love that one. That'll get you all going, that one. Right? Side 2, Among the Wicklow Hills, and he's singing about his home of Southern Ireland and the hills he probably walked on. Sonny's Dream, that's another great song. It's about a sailor. The Dying Soldier, great song. El Salvador, that's a fantastic song. Don't play that one to Donald Trump. Back home in Derry. Derry's is a city up in the north of Ireland, and the Protestants call it Londonderry, the Catholics call it Derry. I call it Derry. And then the last track, The Least We Can Do. And musicians on this album, obviously, we've got Christy Moore vocals. We've got Donna Lunny, who's been with Christy Moore for many, many years. And we've got Declan Sinnott, and he's been with Christy Moore for many, many a year. And this is a great album, and this was released on Record Store Day of last year, so it'll be in 2024. A few of you might recognise the fella in the middle of the picture here. Well, this is Dexy's Midnight Runners, and that's Kevin Rowlands there. Now, Dexy's Midnight Runners came out during the early 80s, and they were unashamedly Celtic pop. As the years went by, he kind of metamorphosized into lots of things, but this I think is one of the finest albums, and it's a folk album, and it's absolutely brilliant. It's got a lovely gatefold, it's a lovely back to it, and it's called let the record show. Dexys do Irish and country soul. They're playing all the folky songs. And track 1 will be The Women of Ireland. Lovely song. To Love Somebody. Well, that's a Bee Gees song, but they put their own little slant on that. Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. They've put a folky slant on that, and that's that well-known ballad. Side 2, The Curragh of Kildare. Now that is traditionally an Irish folk song, and it's absolutely wonderful. I'll Take You Home Again, Kathleen. What another absolutely great song. I'm afraid we've got a helicopter flying above us. I hope it won't be there too long. And finishing side 2 will be a track, You Wear It Well. And if there's any Rod Stewart fans out there, that was a big hit for Rod Stewart. Vinyl number 2, side 3 will be 40 Shades of Green. Again, it's that Irish lament to it, and obviously the colour green, which is synonymous with Ireland. How Do I Live? And the last track is Grazing in the Grass. That's a great song, that is. I don't know how to describe that song, really. You need to have a little listen to that. Just go on to YouTube or Spotify and just put Dexy's Grazing in the Grass. Track 4, The Town I Loved So Well. Track 2, Both Sides Now. And it finishes off with, I think, one of the all-time greatest Irish folk songs. Nobody really knows who wrote this song, but Van Morrison, I think, brought it to the forefront, and it's a song called Carrick Fergus. So anyone who wants to have a little delve into Irish folk music, look for Van Morrison or the Dexys doing Carrick Fergus. Absolutely lovely album. Great inner. There's the Dexys, and we've got a lyric sheet, and if I'm not mistaken, we'll have the same for vinyl 2. Yes, we have. That's another little pose, Kevin Rowlands and the band, and on the back he has given a little tribute to all the band members of Dexy's Midnight Runners. This is a wonderful album. This would have been released I would say about 5 years ago, and it's still well played on my record table. Cat Stevens, The Very Best Of. Now this was my Sunday vinyl spin. I do a Sunday vinyl spin on Facebook, and this was my my choice Sunday morning, and it got so many likes and so many comments, and I'll always consider Cat Stevens a folk singer and one of the UK's greatest exports. He's absolutely wonderful. What a fantastic writer. And track 1, probably one of my favourite songs, which I still play at my gigs, Where Do the Children Play? His most famous song, I think, probably is track 2, called Wild World. Track 3, Tuesday's Dead. Track 4, Lady D'Abenville. And that's a lovely, sweet song. I've got a feeling, you know, that maybe the Rolling Stones, I don't know who influenced who, but have a little listen to this song called Lady Jane. That's very similar. Track 6, Oh Very Young, that's a lovely, sweet song. Track 7, Ruby Love, another great song. Track 8 is that, it comes from the Bible, doesn't it? And it's called Morning Has Broken. Track 9 of side 1 is Moon Shadow. Absolutely lovely song, and there's the Moon Shadow over there. Side 2, first track, Matthew and Son. Now this would have been one of his early songs, probably from the late 60s. Track 2 kept being covered by so many bands, Father and Son, lovely song, a bit overplayed recently. 3, Can't Keep It In, a great upbeat song, and it's joy and happiness. 4, Hard-Headed Woman, great song. 5, Remember the Days of the Old Schoolyard. Again, there isn't a track in here, which is a dud. 6, I Love My Dog. Now, this would have been, again, one of his early songs. Track 7, Another Saturday Night. Now, who would have thought that Cat Stevens had wrote this song? It's just been covered by so many great artists. Track 8, Sad Lisa. And track 9, Peace Train. Absolute great compilation album, Cat Stevens, the very best of. Now, to my home country now, and one of our legendary folk singers. I was born only just a mile or two from where Dafydd Iwan was born, and we've adopted one of his songs now as like our honorary Welsh anthem, and it's called Yma o Hyd, meaning we are still here, and it was about the Romans conquering Great Britain, but they never conquered the Welsh. They were quite frightened of the Welsh there because we were quite pagan. And Dafydd Iwan is still going strong now. And even though it's Welsh folk, Dafydd Iwan was brought up on Pete Seeger and the Weavers and Woody Guthrie, but he sang in our traditional Welsh language, and it's called Yma Mai Ynachan, and it's by Dafydd Iwan, and there's some great songs on here. And I'm not going to name the songs because you'd never understand the words in it. You Welsh people will, Welsh speakers will, but all I can tell you is that they are absolutely brilliant songs. We've got Can y Medd, Can y Glawyr, Croesia Gwyddeg Nain, Can yr Ysgol, that means Song of the School, Rwy'n Gweld I Ddyf. It's just a brilliant song. And there's one musician on this album which I think we've all heard of, and especially if you were a bit of a rocker during the 80s, and that's Cardiff-born Dave Edmunds, and he's playing guitar on this. So this would have been this album would have been about 1971, and Dave Edmunds wasn't huge then. I think he'd already had a hit in Sabre Dance, but he was more famous for I Hear You Knocking and I Knew the Bride. Anyway, local hero, Dafydd Iwan. Anyone who wants to check a bit of Welsh folk, check this fella out. I think you'll enjoy his voice. It's sweet, it's lovely, and it's my country, Wales. Again, we've gone a bit modern, very similar to Dexy's, but the Waterboys are a Scottish band. Always get mistaken for being an Irish band. Reason being, Mike Scott on the front here. He left Scotland and he migrated to Ireland, and he recorded most of his albums there, and he sang a lot about Ireland too. This would have been one of the Waterboys' first albums, and I absolutely love the Waterboys. Albums like Fisherman's Blues, brilliant. So they're a Welsh musician on this album as well. Not a lot inside. We've got Mike Scott in the front. There's the rear of the album. And the tracks in here would be Church Not Made With Hands, All the Things She Gave Me. That's that's probably one of the top songs in this album. It's absolutely great. The album's called A Pagan Place, by the way. The Thrill Is Gone, last track, Rags. Side 2, Somebody Might Wave Back, Sorry. The Big Music, another great Waterboys song, another stalwart. Red Army, Star Blues. And Pagan Place, which is obviously the name of the album. And it would have consisted of Mike Scott, Andy Thistlethwaite, Kevin Wilkinson, and the Welsh musician, I'll always shout out the Welsh musician, and sadly we've lost him recently, is Carl Wallinger. Then we've got Roddy Lamar, Tim Blankthorne, Barbara Snow, Eddie Reader, and Eddie Reader was a pop singer who had a couple of hits, and I think the name of the band was called Fairport. It wasn't Fairport Convention, very similar to that. I will remember. I'll put a little note on the description. And T.V. Smith and Nick Linden. Recorded in 1982. Even though I've called it modern, this album is over 40 years old, but still sounds very modern. And it's the Waterboys, A Pagan Place. Please check the Waterboys out. You're not going to be disappointed. Going back to Ireland, and I've got a couple of the Furies albums, and they are traditionally Irish. They've crossed a bit of genres. The TVs liked them, the TV companies liked them. They had great voices, and they had great songs. And this is called The Furies and Davy Arthur, When You Were Sweet 16. And it's an absolute wonderful album, and some of my favourite Irish songs are on here. I Will Love You Every Time, Yesterday's People. My gosh, the third song is called The Green Fields of France. Please listen to that. It's about a World War I British soldier who dies, and they're singing by his grave and talking to him, and he was only a young man. He was 19. The Lonesome Boatman, absolute lovely song. The Old Man, O Babushka. That's the end of side 1. Side 2 starts off with a beautiful song called When We Were Sweet 16. Absolutely gorgeous song. The Anniversary song, Belfast Mill, that's a great song. Siege of a Nation, Yesterday's Men, and My Love Is Like a Red Rose. And the Furies consisted of Davy Arthur, and the rest then were brothers. You had George Fury, you had Finbar Fury, you had Eddie Fury, and you had Paul Fury. And if I just hold that close enough for you, you can see the names and the pictures. Anyway, Furies, you've just got to love them. Let's cross the pond to the USA, and without doubt one of my favourite folk artists of the time. He was never classed as blues, Leadbelly. I loved Leadbelly. In fact, I went to an open mic jam night last night, and I played one of his songs, and that was called The Midnight Special. And I've forgotten who's covered that song. We've got Eric Clapton's covered it, Creedence Clearwater Revival have covered it, but I still go back to the Leadbelly version. And so much he's got. You could actually make a movie out of Leadbelly's life. Apparently, he was pardoned twice for murder, and he was let out by a governor who thought he was a wonderful singer, and he was going to make his way in the world. He ended back in jail and ended back out of jail, and he became part of the big folk scene of America around the 1940s, and he'd have been touring around there with people like Woody Guthrie and the Weavers, etc. Some great songs in here, and I can, you know, the first song which we can see here, Bourgeois Blues, that's one of my favourite Leadbelly songs. So side one would consist of If I Had the Governor, Well the Governor Has Me, and then we've got Bourgeois Blues, Lucky Lucky Beyond the Wall, Black Betty, Yellow Woman's Doorbells, 3, Poor Howard, Green Corn. Track 4, Led Zeppelin took a version of this and put it on Led Zeppelin 3, and that's called The Gallows Pole. Track 5, Decalp Woman. Side 2, Noted Rider, Big Fat Woman, Barrow Love, Bring Me Little Water Sylvie, Julianne Johnson, Woe Back Buck, and that great folk song called John Hardy. I'm not sure if you can get this album. It's on the Archive of Folk Music, and we've covered a few of these albums. There's Leadbelly. There's nothing really inside here. It's just the sleeve and the record, and it's got a nice little write-up on it. Anyway, Leadbelly, my American folk hero. Back to a bit of Cat Stevens, and I'm unashamedly, I'm a big Cat Stevens fan. I've got probably 4 or 5 of his albums, especially his early ones, and this is another brilliant album. A lovely gatefold. This would have been like a mid-70s Cat Stevens. He then obviously became, he discovered Islam, and he changed his name to Yusuf Islam, and he's still recording, and he actually calls himself Yusuf Islam stroke Cat Stevens, and the album's called Catch Bull at 4. I really don't know what that means, but it's a brilliant album, and we've got side 1, Sitting, side 2, Boy with the Moon and Stars on His Head. That's great. That's absolutely great song. It's one of his top songs. Angel Sea. Track 4, Silent Sunlight. Track 5, Can't Keep It In. We just mentioned that on the Greatest Hits. Side 2, 18th Avenue. Freezing Steel. O Caritas. Sweet Scarlet and Ruins. And his band at the time were kind of the British folk royalty of the time, and we've got Jerry Conway was Fairport Convention's drummer, and around this time he was such a wanted musician. Alan Davis was always with Cat Stevens. So if you ever watch any videos of Cat Stevens, the fella sitting on his right or his left playing a guitar is Alan Davis. It's a Welsh name. I'm not sure if he's Welsh though. And there's the famous Jerry Conway, and we've got Jean Roussel, and we've got Alan James, and we've got all the lyrics for the songs. Great, absolutely great album. Not a lot inside, just the record and the sleeve, and that's called Catch Bullets 4. Brilliant album. One of my favourite Australian folk bands were the Seekers, and this is called Hide and Seekers, and absolutely wonderful band. And this is a charity shop bargain, and we've got on here The Little Light of Mine, Morning Town Ride, The water is wide, well, well, well. Lady Mary, we're moving on. Side 2, Ox Driving Song. Track 2, Kumbaya. That's if you were in there, in the Boy Scouts. That's what you'd be singing around a campfire. Then track 3 is Blown in the Wind, which will be the Bob Dylan song. The Urkasay Love Lilt. Track 5, Chilly Winds. And track 6, What Have They Done to the Rain, which is a classic album. And you often see this album in charity shops. If you see it, pick it up, it's brilliant. Again, we're going down to the Welsh Road, and this is a really good friend of mine, and his wife is a really good friend of mine as well. They are the original members of a Welsh band called Fernhill, which was named after a Bob Dylan poem. It's called Gwithian, and the main character is Rhys Matthews, who's one of Wales's great Welsh folk historians, and he plays, we've all heard of the Scottish pipes, well, we've got Welsh pipes as well. And this album is a selection of dance tunes from Swansea flute repertory from 1717 to present day, played by Rhys Matthews, and it's called Gwithian. And I've seen this album performed live, and it's extraordinary to watch Rhys Matthews playing these different Welsh pipes. It's an absolute brilliant album. And first side is The White Spelter Smoke. Side 2 is Maithis, Sigien, Dafydd and Abercroyd. The Cowweight, The Vetch, The Spirit of Maisie Dance. Tito Cawn, a Kimble, Tommy Jenkins hornpipe, Mumbles hornpipe. Mumbles is my local haunt where I go and play a lot and jam. Cumgelly, side 2 would be the cold rolls. This world is too wide for thee. The Kings of Swansea. So a lot of this album is about my home city of Swansea. The Green Grounds, Abraham Ace on the Mixon Shoals. And it's just a fantastic album. And gets you into traditional Welsh folk music, which is not spoken a lot about. We've heard of Scottish folk, and we've heard of English folk, and we've heard of Irish folk, but we do have our own folk tradition in Wales anyway, and Rhys Matthews is a great purveyor of it. Don McLean, American Pie. Hard to actually categorise Don McLean, singer-songwriter. Watched a few documentaries of him, and obviously he wrote that absolute brilliant song called American Pie. We all know it. It's sung everywhere. And but I would definitely say he was originally a folk singer to start with. And not a lot inside you. We've got Don McLean with there. Thumbs up with American Stars and Stripes. There's a young Don McLean there. American Pie isn't my favourite song on this album. And we'll come to it now. So we've got side 1, American Pie, overplayed. Till Tomorrow, track 3, this is my all-time favourite song. And if anyone has seen my Illusion Arts, you'll hear this song played over a few of them, and it's Vincent. What a brilliant, brilliant song. And it's about Vincent van Gogh, the painter. Side 2, Winterwood, Empty Chairs, Everybody Loves Me Baby, Sister Fatima, The Grave, and Babylon. And this album would have been circa about 1973. Don McLean, American Pie. I do like Don McLean. I think he was great. I think he was fabulous, fabulous singer-songwriter. And once again, we're going to finish with the Seekers, and they're just great purveyors of world folk, especially when we're talking Pete Seegers and the Leadbellys of this world, Ramblin' Jack Elliott. They picked up a lot on these. This album would have been 1967, and it's called Music of the World, Eternal Love is Kind, Love is Wine. And we've got on here, side 1, Colours of My Life. On the other side, Love is Kind, Love is Wine. We're moving on. Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Seen. That's a great old bluesy song. Last track is called Myra. Side 2, All I Can Remember, When the Stars Begin to Fall, Cinnamon. Track 4, Rattler. Track 5, The Sad Cloud. And track 6, Music of the World is Turning. I implore you and I ask you, if you haven't heard of some of these albums, go out and have a little scout about. Switch on YouTube, and you'll be quite amazed at their craft of singing, their musicianship. They were absolutely brilliant, and they all followed like the Pete Seeger way of life, and obviously we've got the British and the Celtic folk scenes, but the Seekers were definitely Bob Dylan and the Weavers, Seeger, Woody Guthrie. Anyway, guys, that's the end of episode 21, and I'll see you in 2 weeks' time for episode 22. Anyway, take care now. See you soon.